Hi, I'm Jenny from Israel, and we are here today with a few wiki friends for an unofficial, friendly chat about a cool initiative called 100 Wikidays. We'll start with just you guys saying who you are, and we'll start with Vassia.
Can you hear me? Hello, I'm Vassia in the Wikimedia projects, and not only. I'm known as Spiritia. This year I'm going to have the 10th birthday on Wiki projects, and probably one of the greatest things I have accomplished during these years was making more people internationally join this madness, 100 Wikidays. That's enough for now.
Cool, thank you. Asaf?
Hello, my name is Asaf. I'm a Hebrew Wikipedian, and Vassia made me do it.
Short and sweet, as always. Nicola?
Hello, I'm Nicola. I'm known as Lord Bunbury, and I've been around for 10 years now, almost 10 years. And after 40 days of persuasion every day and every night by Vassia, I did 225 Wikidays.
Amazing. You'll tell us a bit more about it. And last but not least, for now at least, Almine, am I saying your name correctly?
Yeah. Hello.
Almine, well, you're muted. Can you unmute?
Yeah.
Again.
Now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, I'm Armina from Armenian Wikipedia. I joined 100 days, and I do enjoy it a lot. So that I started the second circle. It's really an amazing initiative.
Wow, so we have completely addicts here. So before we talk about why you're all so much addicted to this cool challenge, I think Vassia called it. Vassia, who's the initiator, why don't you tell us a bit about what is 100 Wikidays, for those who still don't know it? Vassia, unmute.
Sorry, I keep making this mistake. So for those who don't know about 100 Wikidays, at least you probably know about 100 Happy Days. This is a challenge which makes you prove that each and every day in 100 days in a row, you have a reason to be happy. Something have made you happy, and you make a picture of it and you post it on Facebook or some other social network. So yeah, I tried it last year, and I failed it about 10th day from the beginning. Probably meaning that happiness is not exactly my business, but hopefully there are anyway things that make me happy, and one of them is writing on Wikipedia. So months later, I decided that probably I can try 100 wiki days instead of 100 happy days. So thus it started. Actually, when I said last year, I already mean 2014. So yeah, the beginning of the 100 wiki days was 2015, a bit more than a year ago. So the idea about the challenge is that every day in 100 days in a row, you write an article on Wikipedia. And the very simple but merciless rules are that you don't miss a day. So it's every day, you don't prepare in advance. You don't write 2 articles after having missed 1 day. So yeah, every day, every single day, at least 1 article. So in the beginning, it was really very difficult. The milestone, my first milestone, was about the 10th day, when I thought, if I make it now, I will really make it, because it was the time when I failed the Happy Days challenge. So yes, I made it, and it continued for 100 really very happy wiki days. Another milestone was when other people started joining the challenge. Since I was posting the link to the article of the day in my Facebook page wall, everybody who was around me, following me, understood in one moment that there is something going on. So after a point, it was about I think about the 30th day, the second person, another Bulgarian, joined, Bloody, and then it was Asaf, and Asaf made it global, the global madness.
So obviously you have conspirators working with you on this initiative, and it sounds, from what I hear from you and from other people, you said that you don't have to actually to prepare. But I know for certain that a few people created lists that they were trying to work by and fulfill whatever is on the list. Some succeeded and some failed. We'll talk about these failures and successes in a few moments. But before we continue, we now heard why you joined. I want to hear from the other people, from the other addicts that you kind of lured into this craziness. Why they chose to participate? What is the incentive for? I mean, everybody knows that Wikipedia is done voluntarily. People have lives. People have families. They have work. They have other stuff to do. Why would they commit to something so crazy as writing an article a day, which is, for me, as I told you before, is simply crazy. I mean, I'm working like a turtle. I can't even begin to imagine what it means to write an article per day. It's a lot of work. So guys, tell us why you did it. And let's keep the order. Asaf, Nicola, and Almine.
So, like I said, Vassia made me do it. But the interesting bit is, she didn't tell me to do it. She made me do it by inspiring me. That's what I find interesting about the way 100 Wikidays works. It's not a project. It's not something you set out to recruit others into doing. It works by personal example and personal inspiration, as so many other things on the wiki actually do. And as Vassia said, the key is that she posted every day the article that she wrote that day. She wrote the articles in Bulgarian on her home wiki, but she posted in English, about like what is the article, what is the person or concept that she covered in the article she wrote that day. And at some point, I noticed that this inspiring Bulgarian fellow Wikipedian was posting a new article every day and was counting and used a hashtag called 100 Wikidays, which suggested she's going to keep on doing it for 100 days straight, 7 days a week. And it took about a month, but I began feeling a kind of tingling sensation of, maybe I should do this too. And so I said I had better lie down and wait until it passes. because really I cannot afford to make this commitment. I cannot write an article every single day. I'm really, really busy with my day job, and beyond my day job, I have all kinds of other volunteering duties, and I just knew I cannot write an article every day. Even the most, the shortest acceptable article takes me about an hour and a half or 2 hours to create. I just knew I cannot afford to make this commitment, and so I resisted. I resisted from that time for about 2 weeks, and my resistance got weaker every day because Vassia kept on posting a new article every single day. And at some point, I succumbed. I fell victim to 100 Wikidays, and I just told myself, I'm just going to commit to this publicly and see what happens. And I sat down and wrote my first article. And as Vassia said, you don't prepare in advance. You don't prepare the articles themselves in advance. You don't begin the research or the gathering the information in advance. But I did decide to make myself a little side challenge and address some of the content gender gap on my home wiki and most wikis, and decided that my 100 articles will all be biographies of women. That's just a kind of personal additional challenge I set myself. And so I sat down and wrote that evening the article about the British author Zadie Smith. That was my first 100 Wikidays article. I wrote it on the Hebrew Wikipedia. I posted it. I linked it to other articles in other languages and Wikidata. And I posted it on Facebook and said 100 Wikidays 001. And I did this again the next day. It was hard. I didn't have time, remember? I did it anyway because now and Vassia was watching. That was how I got sucked in.
We'll talk about the details a bit later on, I hope. Nicola, what was your story?
Well, since I'm Bulgarian Wikipedian just as Vassia, we tend to chat a lot, and every day for something like 30 or 40 days, she was not only posting on Facebook, but she was writing to me things like, you have to do it, and it is so cool, or I've just written a great article. And then when it became international, when our wiki friends from the region joined, from the Central and Eastern European region, some Friday last year I was coming home and I was listening to John Lennon to the song Imagine, and it ends, well, it doesn't end, but yeah, it ends with imagine all the people sharing all the world. And then I thought that would be a good start. So I came back home early from work, I took my time, I wrote a very, very long, detailed article on that particular song by John Lennon. And then it was Saturday, and on Saturday there is a lot of time, and you can sit in peace at home and write your article, and there is still time enough for everything else in your life, and on Sunday too. And then came Monday. But by the day of Monday, I had already written 001 and 002 and 003. So on Monday, there had to be a 004. And after work, I went to my Swedish course. I was at home at 10 o'clock in the evening. I redefined day as, well, the time between waking up and going to bed, and not between 0 and 0 o'clock. And then I wrote a short article, but what made it really, really a great experience was when I started writing articles that other people posted. When I came back home, I had not chosen an article, and then I thought, well, let's see what people have posted in that group, 100 Wikidays. And then I saw that, for example, there were some articles about Ukrainian Olympians, and I'm someone who has written many, many articles about Olympians, and then it might have happened that I have translated articles from a language which I perfectly don't know, like Ukrainian.
Oh wow. Okay, Nicola just fell out of the conversation, so we're gonna continue with Armine until he comes back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I met Vassia during Wikimania, and I learned about this great initiative in Mexico City. So when I come back my hometown, I didn't start at once, but then someday I saw on a Facebook group that people shared the 100 Wikidays articles. My inspiration was on, and it made me to start it. So I started. I used to write articles every day, but during a weekend I was a little slow, and I would edit, but no articles during those days. But this project made me to write articles every day, even on my birthday, every single day. And my joy was multiplied when some other Armenian Wikipedians started to join the project. So this is how I joined.
Yes, that's a cool story. And what I hear from all of you is either Vassia made me do it, John Lennon made me do it, or basically inspiration made me do it. All valid reasons in my book, which is a good time to ask. Yeah, all the same. Asaf is writing on the chat. Which brings us to scope. I mean, till now, can you say how many people have joined the good craziness that is 100 Wikidays, and how many articles have been written?
Well, the statistics on the meta page say that there are 110 victims, me included.
Vassia, maybe you can share screen.
Yes, just a second.
The meta page is called 100 Wikidays on meta.
Yeah, it's simple, easy. Do you see it now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Good. Okay, if I paste the link.
Let me try to share it. Can you see?
Now?
Okay, Vassia is sharing.
Okay. So there are 110 victims or patients, me included. The ordering starts from 0. And there are 31 alumni so far. Actually, some of the people have repeated the challenge, so they're a bit less, probably 28 or 29, but some of the people have repeated it. And according to the page, there are already more than 5,000 written articles. I would say much more, because some of the people decided to have their own statistic page on their home projects, and they do not include what they have written in the progress report on the meta page. This is up to everybody, so we're not insisting on recording on the meta page. But the good thing about it is that once people record on the meta page and we see what everybody is writing about every day, it's very inspiring. You can see what is interesting for other people. You can see some trends, people following some agenda, people writing about interesting things which otherwise you would never, probably would never listen to, hear about. So it's really very funny, and people also share about their progress on the page. On the page in Facebook, which is also called 100 Wikidays. It's a public group, and here you can You can see people who have joined the challenge write about what they have written in the day, and it's really very inspiring, especially when they motivate the choice of their article, and some conversation begins because of this. I really enjoy reading what motivates people to write about their article.
Yeah, so it's basically another way of sharing ideas, sharing your experience as a Wikipedian with others. And I really liked if you can go back to the screen sharing of the page on Meta. I love that you added the Wikidata object. I think it's really important. It helps people to follow it. You know, sometimes spelling is different, and Nicola and Asaf, and I think also Armine, all of you mentioned that you're sometimes translating from other languages. So this is very helpful and so diverse. So many different kinds of subjects, and it's really a good way to get to know your fellow Wikipedians, I think.
If you see this,
I want to say that one of the greatest joys is seeing a day or 2 days after you post a new article that you wrote in your language that did not exist before, seeing the next day or 2 days later an article appear in Ukrainian or Punjabi or Armenian about the same topic. And it has something to do with you because one of the other participants saw you post about that article. And so you bear some responsibility for it suddenly appearing in Armenian or Punjabi, and that just feels wonderful. And it was great to inspire and be inspired by the other participants.
And also learning about completely new stuff you simply don't know without other people posting about, I think. What are other inspirations / happy moments that you have, guys? I mean, besides the joy of writing a new article and sharing it with other good people.
It is a very cool feeling to ask a wiki friend, what does this word mean in your language, and what does that word mean in your language? And of course you have translated some of the text by some machine translating tool, and then an hour later you just post a link to a lengthy article, 30 kilobytes or something, on your home wiki to Facebook, and then you see in the eyes of the other person, which you of course do not see when you're chatting, but you feel the joy that they have helped you to create a good article with just a few words in their own language.
Yeah, so again, the joy of sharing knowledge, and I think really connecting to people that we see the usernames, but this really creates a conversation, I would say. What else? Any other comments on the good, optimistic sides of 100 Wikidays?
You say about the optimistic side. Is there a pessimistic? How do you think?
Well, there's a challenging side. Let's call it that. I know that some people failed. It's difficult, as we said, to create. Yes, some people in the audience have failed as well. And I mean, it's difficult, guys. It's difficult. All of you said it's difficult. Some people takes, like me, 3 days, 4 days to create an article. Turtles, as I said before. No, but I mean, it's challenging. It's challenging to find the time, and it's not easy it's not an easy commitment. So yeah, not all glory and what do you do when you fail? Nicola.
First of all, I would never say that someone has failed just because they haven't made 100 articles in 100 days, because I know it's extremely difficult. I had I have had times when I was on the verge of leaving it because after a point I already devote so much time and effort on this that my work is um, deteriorating. I even have had times when I have hemorrhage in the eye just because I'm every night until 2 o'clock I'm writing my article of the day. But what are you doing in this moment? You write an article about subconjunctive hemorrhage, if I remember well the English term. So you write about your medical condition. um, it it can really be very difficult. For this reason, I don't think that someone who hasn't done it is a failure. I think that we have to be grateful for every article which a person volunteers their time for. It really means a lot. It means that someone who really needs this information in the future will have it on time, will have it written, existing for him, waiting for him to read. So I don't think that we have to be bad with the people who just haven't finished their 100 days. They will return. They very often return. And I think that, yeah, we need to be happy and grateful for every new person who has joined it and for every new article which is written.
Yeah, completely. I would, well, I chose the word fail on purpose because I wanted this exact explanation about just it's a win-win situation as I see it. Even if you don't do it every day, anything that you do contribute, even if you have to stop for a day, is a good thing. In my book at least. But can some people share, because well, you talked about medical conditions. I know people have lost sleep. There have been some craziness, guys. Let's admit it. So again, how do you keep it up for a long time? That's my next question.
I would say that the one thing that motivates one the most is the social aspect, that there are fellow Wikipedians somewhere around the world, in India, in Ukraine, in San Francisco, wherever, who are appreciating what you're doing. You're getting some likes in that group and people are talking about some of the articles you have written, and then people tell you, write about this author and please read a book by him. And you do that, and then you write articles on Wikiquote and so on. It's just the appreciation and the social element of things.
Asaf, you wanted to add something else?
Well, on the point of difficulty, one of the mottos that we have evolved is a quotation from the painter Washington Allston, who said, "The only competition worthy of a wise man is with himself," speaking to the personal challenge of this idea. You're not competing against anyone else. You're not doing this for anyone else. You're challenging yourself, and if you failed, despite every effort, you couldn't get an article out that day. Well, you just try again the next day. You get right back on the horse and you keep on cranking out an article a day. And there are some objective difficulties, of course. For example, when you travel internationally, it can be very difficult to write the article. Some of us have posted articles from airport lobbies. Some people have managed to get online on a flight and post their articles from 30,000 feet. Where there's a will, there's a way, usually. But sometimes people did fail. I certainly did, and managed only 80-something articles before I gave up because I was missing too many days. But I will return. I will try the challenge again.
And Vassia will hold you to it, I'm sure. Nicola, is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Well, very soon the article writing contest CE Spring for Central and Eastern European Spring is starting, and it's from 21st of March to the 31st of May. And if you're planning to start 100 wiki days, that might be a very, very good time.
Amine, what do you have to add?
So I want to talk about the topics. It was a bit difficult to choose an article every day. So I write articles every day, but I write whatever comes to my mind. Here I want to write something special. So I choose different topics like museums, libraries, different biographies. Then for some period, I stopped on Bulgarian writers. And I was so enthusiastic when people started to like that idea, and they liked the post that I shared.
Amina, how many people joined from Armenia so far?
Yeah, three students joined after me, but there were people who were used writing it before. And now two still go on, they continue, and they are students, and I like the idea so much.
So you're actually, this is very interesting what you're saying. You've mentioned students, so you are, let's say, infecting your students as well. You are spreading the idea to students.
Yes, and a good thing is that they are being infected, and they do the translations too, and they choose very nice topics.
Talking about translations, I would say that there are some practical advice and tricks how to save your life during 100 wiki days. How not to fail it.
How to persevere.
Sorry?
How to persevere. How to keep doing it. Yes, let's hear some tricks from you guys.
Making a research about a topic, finding sources, well, the usual way which we prefer writing articles on Wikipedia, and by doing preliminary research, can take a lot of time. And depending on the topic, depending on the experience, the competence, the available sources, this can take really much more than one day. So sometimes it is very useful to make a translation from a well-written foreign language Wikipedia on that topic which you are aiming at. So translations, I think, are very often the way when you save the day. Also, this is the 100 wiki days is a way to discipline yourself not to write too lengthy articles. We know we all love reading featured articles which are very long, very detailed, but it is also very disciplining to learn how to write concisely, saying a lot of information in less words. It really doesn't need to be a featured article every day. It's impossible. Well, it's good not to create 100 steps, of course, but a reasonable article of reasonable length with good sources, well cited, is going to be a very good option. No need to be something outstanding. Sometimes we just need to look around ourselves and see things which are there around us, for which we can write an article. It really doesn't need to be a very lengthy and detailed research. For instance, because I also wrote an article on my birthday last year, it was the article on Bulgarian Wikipedia about greeting card. I received several greeting cards, and I was really very happy. So it makes you find, look closely around yourself and find what is there just behind the corner, just next to you, which otherwise you will overlook and will never pay attention to. And might contain some useful information, some encyclopedic way to present it. So this is one thing. And the other thing which Nicola mentioned, combining 100 Wikidays with another article writing contest or challenge is also a very good way to make it. You write one article and you cover two parallel contests, or contest plus the challenge. So things like the CE Spring, which is coming, or the Asian month, or something like this. They're very well fitting with the idea of 100 Wikidays.
Anyone else has anything to add on some tips and tricks on how to survive 100 Wikidays?
I can share something I've learned. Beyond, as Vassia said, translations are sometimes a way to save some time. Another way to save time is to pick a topic that has kind of built-in excellent sources. After some experimentation, I discovered, since I was writing about women, that writing about women chess grandmasters is very easy, because the International Chess Federation has an excellent and reliable site with all the statistics, and is a reliable source for the rankings, etc. And because there are ranks, they are by definition notable, any woman who's an international grandmaster, etc. And so cranking out an article about a woman chess grandmaster was relatively easy and straightforward in terms of sourcing, in terms of an info box, etc. And so you can tell when I was particularly busy by looking at the days on which I contributed articles about women chess players.
Any other, besides chess players, any other topics that you find were shorter for the difficult days?
Well, in my case, it was sports persons. I do not like the fact that there are many articles about football players who are playing in the third league of a country like Indonesia, and there are not enough articles on Olympic champions, and those are truly remarkable persons. So one could say that I have had a busy day when there was an article about some Olympian.
Amina, did you have a subject that you used?
So I would like to say that during these 100 Wikidays, I joined also to a number of other projects. So I have to write articles about that project too. So if I didn't have any idea what to write for 100 days today, I have an Armenian actor or singer come to help me, so I write about them.
So for you, it's combining projects and initiatives, right?
Yeah, during this 100 days, I joined also to Armenian-Georgian project. Then there was GLOM in Madrid, which were also two cute and interesting projects. But, for example, I can't imagine my day without 100 Wikidays, because I really love this.
Amazing. Goes to show how much Vassia, how far you reach people, which is quite amazing, I think.
It was the idea. I think that it's the spirit behind Wikipedia and sharing and having fun. And when we say about different projects, as Armin has said, there is one more thing that once you finish with the 100 Wikidays on Wikipedia, you can try another project like Wikisource or Wikiquote or Wiktionary. Some people are already doing it, have done it. I think that the first.
So how many people are doing, I don't know, Wikiquotes, for instance? Can we say? Can you tell?
Antanana started. I think that she was the first to make 100 Wikiquotes. Nicola, am I right?
I didn't do the 100 wiki quote days. I started 100 wiki voyage days after the 200 wiki days, and then I failed after 25. And the fact that I failed is mostly based on the fact that it was not social anymore. There was no one to talk about it with because it was in the incubator of Wikipedia or Wikimedia, and I was the only one writing on that project, so I could not ask someone to give me a template or help me with something or anything. It was just not as social anymore, and therefore it was not so much fun.
That's so that's an important point. Work on something that is not in the incubator. Work on live and kicking projects. There are a few of them out there. As you mentioned Wikivoyage. Vassia mentioned Wikiquote and Wikisource and Wikibooks and Wiktionary. There are options, so everybody can find their own wiki project to contribute to, right? Asaf, was there something you wanted to add?
One aspect that I particularly like about the global phenomenon of 100 Wikidays is that it tends to flourish in less well-covered areas and also in smaller or younger communities. I am particularly interested and happy about the fact that we have precisely one alumna or successful challengee on the English Wikipedia. One person has managed to write 100 articles in 100 days, but we have 7 people who have completed the challenge on the Punjabi Wikipedia. Punjabi is spoken by about 90 million people, but has a relatively small, relatively young wiki community. To me, it's wonderful to see the energy with which smaller wikis like Punjabi, like Armenian, are engaging with this project. I think it's very meaningful. And also, speaking of that one English Wikipedian, she is an Irish Wikipedian who, in the content that she picked for those 100 days, covered less well-covered areas like Irish manor houses or Irish women scientists, and it was just wonderful to see the choice of topics and how those batches of 100 articles really kind of plug some holes in those wikis, including on a large and mature wiki like English Wikipedia. To me, that's a wonderful aspect of this project.
It is wonderful, and I understand you had one more trick up your sleeve.
Oh yeah. So speaking of smaller communities and smaller cultures, another trick I developed was the slogan, "When in doubt, write about Estonians."
Care to share an example before you leave us?
Well, when you were looking for a topic, what to write about, it's sometimes just hard to pick any one topic. Looking at what other people have done is always a good idea, as we've mentioned. And at some point I began writing about Estonians. For example, there was a lady named Minna Herma, and she was an Estonian classical composer. and did a lot to popularize classical music in rural Estonia. A fascinating person, and very few materials about her on the internet. I'm also happy that after I wrote about her, some other people wrote about her in other languages. So, you know, directly thanks to 100 Wikidays, this one Estonian person is much better documented on the internet in several languages now.
Indeed. Guys, we're about to wrap up, so I want to thank all of you for, first of all, for doing this. And Vassia, to you first, for coming up with the idea, for making people do it directly or indirectly. And as people could hear now, yeah, new victims are welcome. Just saying. And as you could hear, there are so many benefits to doing it. I could hear today personal benefits like Vassia mentioned. This is good for self-discipline. You learn new stuff yourself. It's also good in terms of social. I don't know, your social circles spread. You get to know people more, you learn about other cultures, Estonians included, and it's fun. It's basically fun, and the most important is we help to make the internet better. So, and better documented, and so last words from all of you. Vassia?
I very much liked one saying, which I found not in relation, but soon after I started the 100 Wikidays, and it clicked. It was just like it is written for this project, and it was like it's not the mountain which we conquer; it's ourselves. So I'd really love to see more people who are conquering themselves and conquering free knowledge, making it more freely available, widely available to more people during this or other projects, but this one particularly.
Asaf, final words?
Come on in, the water's fine. Join us. Go to 100 Wikidays on Meta and see for yourself.
Nicola?
Well, I'm telling you for the second time today, but please join 100 Wikidays together with C Spring from the 20th.
Okay. And last but not least, Almine.
So 100 Wikidays is a really great place which brings together lots of good people who share their knowledge, their articles also, and this is really fun because my mom doesn't write articles, but she's a passive 100 Wikiday user. Every day she asks, what have you written today?
So I like the idea of passive 100 Wikidays enthusiasts, myself included. I follow the group and I follow your great work. Maybe one day I'll have the time to actually write 100 Wikipedia articles myself. Until then, I'll continue to follow your amazing work, and hopefully this video will help spread the word a bit more. So on that optimistic note, thank you all for joining us today, and we're going off air. And join us. It's fun and it's cool. Bye, everyone.